The air in Pinewood, Georgia, smelled of pine sap and secrets, the kind of town where history clung to the present like damp moss on old brick. On a humid August night in 2025, three white cops dragged a black woman into the woods, bound her in an abandoned cabin, and set it ablaze, thinking they'd silenced a threat. They didn't know she was Laura Hayes, Pinewood's newly appointed sheriff. But Laura didn't die. She crawled from the flames, carrying evidence that would burn hotter than their hate, exposing a conspiracy that would unravel their world. This is the story of how one woman turned a town's darkest sin into a beacon of justice, and it starts with a spark no one saw coming. Pinewood was a place where time seemed to pause, its streets lined with clapboard diners, barbershops with faded photos of segregation-era chiefs, and churches where black congregants still sat apart. Confederate flags waved on porches, not museums, a badge of pride for some, a scar for others. When word spread of a black woman, a veteran, taking the sheriff's badge, it hit like a storm. The old guard men like Officer Jack Turner, a 30-year veteran who spat venom about outsiders, and his partner Mike Lawson saw it as an insult to their legacy. At City Hall, Evelyn Carter, a secretary who'd seen too many truths buried, whispered, finally, when she read the memo, Sheriff-elect Laura Hayes arrives Thursday. Laura, 36, tall, with a soldier's poise, had faced insurgents in Afghanistan and protected diplomats in Nigeria. But Pinewood's minefield was different. Dropped off by a bus with just a duffel bag, she met Evelyn at the City Hall's back entrance. They don't know your face, only what you are, Evelyn warned. Laura's faint smile was steel. That's always enough. In a cramped office, Acting Deputy Tom Reed greeted her coolly, his eyes calculating. When Laura requested case files, he hesitated. After the ceremony, he said, I'm not here to be decorative, she shot back. That night, at a rundown motel, the only place that'd take her, Laura pored over redacted files Evelyn slipped her. Missing women, mostly black, cases marked inconclusive. A topographic map showed a cluster of disappearances near an old military ridge, a faint X marking a gully with a twisted symbol, a claw-like cross, a Klan relic. Laura's stomach churned. She'd seen it before, carved into a tree during training. Her old colonel's words echoed. Justice is gagged and tied in some places. Pinewood was one. 5 days before her ceremony, Laura worked in shadows, logging nothing officially. At the motel, under a buzzing light, she traced the X, connecting it to 8 missing women. A knock startled her. Evelyn, nervous, handed over a flash drive. These cases were shut too fast. The old sheriff knew something, she whispered. He said some problems were meant to be buried. Laura's eyes hardened. Some things don't stay buried. In the western woods, where trees seemed to watch, Laura followed old military trails, her flashlight catching rusted barbed wire and that same claw symbol nailed to a tree. A sudden light blinded her. Jack Turner's voice cut through. Trespassing, huh? Mike stepped forward, smirking. She talks back. Young Nate Collins lingered, uneasy. Laura held her ground. I'm investigating disappearances. Jack scoffed. Buried files, sweetheart. When she mentioned the Constitution, he smashed her camera. Then came the blow her world spun. Cuffs bit her wrists, and they shoved her into a squad car. The car rolled deeper into the woods, stopping at a rotting cabin, a relic of an 1864 supply depot. Inside, the air reeked of gasoline. Jack doused the walls, Mike filmed, and Nate muttered, We shouldn't. Laura, bloodied but steady, said, I'm Laura Hayes, sheriff of Pinewood. You're burning your careers. Jack froze, then growled, She's lying. But doubt flickered. He lit a match anyway. Flames roared. Laura kicked a loose floorboard, collapsing into a dank crawl space as smoke choked her lungs. Above, the cabin burned. Below, she breathed, alive. James Carter, a retired black firefighter, smelled the fire from miles away. Instinct drove him to the smoldering cabin. Hearing a faint cry, he descended with a crowbar, finding Laura, soot-covered but alive. He carried her to his mother, Miss Clara, a 90-year-old retired nurse in a converted Jim Crow-era infirmary. Laura woke screaming, bandages tight. I'm the sheriff, she rasped. Clara, wiping her brow, said, You still carry the badge, baby, even if they burned your world. Laura let Pinewood think her dead. A week later, She returned to the cabin's ashes, finding her heat-resistant camera, its footage intact. Jack's sneering confession might as well burn her. Easier than paperwork. At Clara's, Laura watched the video with James. It's not enough, she said. They'll claim it's fake. Evelyn's files added weight. Suppressed complaints, racial profiling. A girl, Tanya Miller, 17, vanished without a trace. Laura needed more someone inside. At Darrow's tap room, a cop hangout thick with smoke, Laura found Tom Reed, hunched over a beer, guilt in his eyes. They said you were dead, he stammered. She leaned in. You knew about the cabin, didn't you? Tom admitted it was a tradition for intimidation, not murder. Be different now, Laura urged. He agreed to get her precinct camera logs and basement records, but was caught by Jack, framed for theft, and arrested. Headlines smeared him as corrupt. Laura wouldn't let them win. At Pinewood's Fall Festival, she and Evelyn hijacked the Jumbotron, broadcasting Jack's video. The crowd gasped. Phones recorded. That's the sheriff, someone whispered. The footage hit the FBI's Civil Rights Division. But during a street speech from James's truck, a sniper's bullet grazed Laura's arm. They're afraid, she told James, bandaging the wound. Evelyn radioed. The FBI's coming, but someone higher's pulling strings. Agent Sarah Bennett, a federal investigator, met Mayor Henry Walsh and Jack at a command post. Walsh offered forged files claiming Laura was unstable, never sworn in. Sarah saw through its signatures too perfect, metadata off. Evelyn called. They rewrote her history court orders, psych reports, all fake. Sarah demanded to see Laura in person. Laura stepped into the open before the precinct, scars visible, holding her burned badge. I was set on fire by my department, she declared. Sarah announced a federal probe. The crowd clapped, not for victory, but for truth. Behind locked doors, Walsh plotted to burn the City Hall archive. Laura, anticipating this, had hidden a camera. It caught Jack pouring accelerant. She sent the feed to Sarah. In a civic auditorium, Sarah announced arrests. Jack, Mike, and Walsh for conspiracy and attempted murder. Jack lunged, screaming Laura wasn't human. Sarah's calm rebuke, she's standing, you're not, silenced him. Laura eyed Walsh. Her silence was judgment enough. But one name remained. Judge Edward Crane, whose signature erased her. A clerk's audio revealed Crane's bribe. Make her disappear, and I want the courthouse contract. Federal agents suspended Crane mid-session. News broke. A judge undone by his pen. At Laura's swearing-in, Pinewood packed the square. She vowed to protect the unheard, holding Tanya's photo, given by her daughter. We're not finished, Laura said, launching department reforms, open hiring, diverse recruits, transparency. 2 months later, Laura sat on her porch, a framed photo from James showing her past and present. Soldier, sheriff, unbroken. Clara shared her grandfather's story, tied to a tree for crossing racial lines. That tree's behind you now, she said. An old white woman apologized for her silence, and Laura welcomed her in. At the precinct, Laura trained recruits, including Evelyn's daughter, on a new creed. Protect with purpose, serve with humility. Her father's cracked badge sat on her desk, a reminder. The governor named her to a misconduct task force. In D.C., Laura's DOJ testimony birthed the Laura Act, protecting whistleblowers. I reminded them what the law's for, she told Sarah. Pinewood changed. Shopkeepers hired diverse staff. Churches integrated pews. Laura's office smelled of cedar, her badge engraved. Hold the line. Never step back. She looked at her recruits. The future. They won't burn it down again, she said. Not if we write the next chapter together. What does justice mean to you? Have you seen violence or injustice in your community? Share your stand in the comments. Let's talk about how we confront these issues. Your voice matters.